Hello and welcome. This is the Marketplace. Here we look at the market, we talk about trends and investment and how global development impact your business activities here in Ghana. On the program today, we're looking at the seeming contradiction between what the president said is being the cause for the slowdown in the supply of gas to Ghana and what the suppliers are also saying. We're looking at that in detail here. We'll be linking up with those who matter insofar as this particular issue is concerned to actually find out who exactly is telling the Ghanaian the truth. These are more on the market. You can stay interactive with us. Our Twitter handle is Joy Business GSFM, and also on Facebook is Joy Business. For more business stories, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is John Kojo Amwako. Marketplace returns right after this break. You're welcome back. And the President Mahama says government will not declare a return to load shedding, even though he is aware there is a challenge with power supply in the country. His comment comes in the wake of criticisms of the Electricity Company of Ghana for failing to advise its customers about the frequent outages. He addressing Muslim faithfuls at the Independence Square on Wednesday. He said the current situation is attributable to the work of saboteurs in Nigeria.
Recently, there have been some issues with electricity tariffs. The Electricity Company of Ghana has done some work on it. They have done a realignment of their billing system, and I believe that people can begin to feel some relief in terms of the bills that they were paying. The bills have been made more transparent so that you can tell with every unit you buy how much the value of the unit is. It is not a subsidy, it's a realignment of the billing system that makes it possible for us to be able to know how much we're spending on electricity. Aside from that, we have recently suffered some generational problems. I held a stakeholder meeting with all those involved in the power sector. Because of sabotage in Nigeria on the terminals, crude oil that we ordered last month has not arrived. And so it has created some generational problems for us. But I've asked the bulk oil storage company to start storing at least 1 month of light crude oil supply for Ghana, so that in the event anything happens at the supply end in Nigeria, we are not affected the way we currently are affected. And so I'll crave your indulgence and urge all of you to understand we're not declaring load shedding. We're not declaring load shedding. I believe things will normalize, but we're taking steps every day to ensure that Ghana has security when it comes to power.
And that is according to the President of the Republic of Ghana, President John Dramani Mahama. And meanwhile, the West African Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, suspended supply of gas from N'Guys, Nigeria some weeks ago. The company said it was as a result of unpaid bills by the Ghana government. The Volta River Authority owes Nigeria N'Gas about $180 million, whilst N'Gas in turn owes the pipeline company $140 million. Corporate Affairs Director of WAPCO, Harriet Broby, explained the reasons behind the suspension. We sincerely apologize for the loss of sound there. We're moving on here on the Marketplace. The disbursement of the third tranche of the IMF cash to Ghana before the end of this month might be under threat. Joy Business understands that the expected board meeting, which should have happened around the time to aid the disbursement, could delay by a while. But what could be accounting for this and the implications of this development on the country? George Afi has more in this report.
From the IMF's own timetable on Ghana, the board of the fund should have met around this time to review the country's performance and make the necessary recommendations for the release of some $116 million to the Bank of Ghana. Checks by Joy Business indicates that Ghana was not on the agenda for the board review in June and even this month, which has always been the time it meets to review Ghana's performance under the program. However, sources say the challenge has come about because of delays by the IMF staff in concluding its report on Ghana's progress. Joy Business is learning that the staff report has also been delayed due to challenges by the Ghanaian authorities in meeting some critical performance targets under the program, like the passage of the Bank of Ghana Act and strategies to address the rising debts of state-owned institutions. For some, this development might just not be good for the economy. This is because government is not just looking for the IMF cash, but also a good report from the fund that it can use to convince investors and donors that is on track when it comes to stabilizing the economy. Delays in approving Ghana's performance could also affect efforts to issue the country's fourth Eurobond before the end of the third quarter of this year, and even plans to review targets set out in the 2016 budget this month.
In a related development, economics Dr. John Kwachi says the only option now is for the IMF to forgive government over its inability to meet some critical targets.
Sometimes they grant waivers. You see, if they think that maybe what the outstanding reforms, maybe they can forgive the government because of they were unforeseen circumstances and things like that. They can waive them, but they don't have to be too many. If there are too many, the board will also not agree to. You grant waivers for all of them. For instance, in one of the reviews, I remember they granted a waiver for our non-observance of domestic payment arrears. I mean, not accumulating. I think one of the arrears. And they saw that it was a minor thing so they granted waiver. So there's always that provision that if it's just some minor infractions, they'll grant you waivers. We have to go back to the program to see exactly when it is supposed to have been enacted, to be able to know whether they have breached it. I don't remember exactly what the timetable is for that. But so the Bank of Ghana Act and maybe other other structural reforms that they are supposed to have undertaken, until the review comes out, we don't have inside information to be able to know exactly what has been done and what has not been done.
We're taking an earlier story where the president, on one hand, is saying that the lack of gas for the country, especially those coming from Nigeria, to augment our energy demand needs. Actually, today we're looking at that. He attributed that to work of the saboteurs. Meanwhile, the NGAS and those also saying that basically it's as a result of the fact that some payment has not been made, and therefore, until those outstanding debt is also made, we're going to actually have some of these difficulties. Let's take a look at this.
Specific action that we have taken based on the directives of our shareholders on our board was to suspend transportation services. So, we give transportation services to NGAS, that's the supplier of gas to DRA and CED. So, because the company WAPCO is not getting paid for its service, it's been placed in a difficult position. And so the directive was for us to suspend the transportation service. And I assume that because we suspended the transportation service, NGAS not having a transporter to supply the gas also suspended the supply of gas. We are transporting the gas on behalf of NGAS. NGAS gets the gas from producers and then transports it to the off-takers through WAPCO. So payment is made to NGAS, and NGAS also pays WAPCO for the transportation service that it has offered to them. So that is the arrangement that is in place. We wrote to NGAS to tell NGAS that we are suspending transportation services. For us, the revenue that we make, based on which we operate the pipeline, based on which we pay salaries, based on which, if we have issues, if, for example, the protection of the pipeline offshore, that we collaborate with the Navy, whatever expenditure that we incur, it is all out of the revenue that we make for gas transportation. And I think you would agree with me that if you are providing a service and you don't get paid for it, at some point in time, it will be difficult for you to offer the service. It's not really, to help retrieve, because we have been in discussions. We have talked to NGAS, we have talked to the government, and we know the efforts that the government is putting in, to get the money. But right now, as we speak, if we don't get some money, some firm commitment, it's actually threatening the existence of the company. And so we really have to do something. You cannot keep on providing a service. It's like if you you have a bus and you are providing a service, transporting people. If you don't get paid, how are you going to be able to buy your the fuel that you put in the bus for it to move or maintain it?
Meanwhile, in a related development, reports say Nigerian militant group of Niger Delta Avengers said on Wednesday that it had blown up Chevron Corp's manifolds and all this. So, but then before we get onto this particular one, we do have Olatunde Agoy, who is from AFP Online from Nigeria, to give us more in terms of perspective as to where do we stand as a country. Is it the fact that we do owe WAPCO, and for that matter, they are declining to give us gas? Or, as the president said, it's just the work of saboteurs? Olatunde, you're welcome to the marketplace.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
Good. From Nigeria, what are you picking from the ground? What do you know insofar as these two situations are concerned?
Yeah, it's a very worrisome situation because of this renewed attack by Niger Delta Avengers. It's a new group that has been attacking oil and gas pipelines, and this has affected the supply of even gas in Nigeria. Prices have gone up, and you shouldn't also forget that Nigeria also supplies our neighboring countries like Ghana. They also get some part of their gas supply from Nigeria. And because of this renewed attacks on oil facilities, it has really disrupted supplies so much that the price, like I said, has gone up. Everybody is complaining. And what are this new group asking for? They are asking for a better share, a fairer share of what they consider to be their God-given wealth. And the beginning of this...
Olatunde, are you there? Okay, we seem to have lost Olatunde Agoy there from AFP Nigeria. I'm sure, much as whenever we actually be to touch base with him, we'll bring him back here on the marketplace. We're taking another story, and most people starting a business often wonder whether or not to form a partnership. Although in most cases, partnerships have been unsuccessful. The co-founders of Percent Ghana, dealers in mobile accessories, have a different story to tell. They've been mentoring young entrepreneurs in business partnerships at the third Startup Dialogue. The Joy Business van was at the Tunnel Hub, the venue for the dialogues.
Welcome to the Tunnel Hub. It's the home of the African Network of Entrepreneurs. This is where we are having the third edition of the Startup Dialogues, and it's going to be fun actually because we've got the Python 4. Remember them? The 4 young, energetic men who are turning things around when it comes to mobile technology. Come inside, let's go.
What is your thoughts on partnerships, and why is it that partnerships don't work, but in your case it is working beautifully well?
I think the first reason for our successful partnership is the fact that we've known each other for a long time. we have a certain sense of trust for each other, and we understand each other. We know each person's strength, each person's weakness, and we are pretty, as you said, we are like family. You understand? So it's like before the business, there was a relationship. The business is just an extension, or like let's say the money making part of our relationship.
You can do everything, sell, but if you don't have the right structure to back what you're doing, there will come a point in time where you look at your business and you're like, okay, where's all the money? Not that someone has stolen it or anything, but because there's no structure to guide your operations, anything goes. And we have tried several structures. Some have failed, some have been successful, but at the end of the day, they failed because implementation was not done properly.
I personally wouldn't have had it any other way. I'd rather we stuck together, started it just the way it is now. Because, mind you, if we decide to go our separate ways, he does his, I do mine, he does his, he also does his, and then mine isn't so successful, his isn't, his is, and then we thought let's all come together like, me and I should go and, suffer so that we all, so, I mean, the bureaucracy that come into place once you start individual companies is quite a lot, but once you are all at ground zero, and you all start from zero and you are going up, all you can do is try to propel each other.
It can go dry, and then it can be better, and then it can go worse, and it can go best, and it can come back to good. You don't have control of what happens, but because you are driven, because the passion is right, because the energy is good, you are pushing.
I've learned a lot of things, and the first step I've learned is that before you be an entrepreneur, you have to decide on yourself. You take a bold step. You talk to people that will mentor you to become one, and you have to always know that if you start, it's not going to be smooth, but you have to focus on it to be better.
So, Mohammed, you are coming all the way from Kumasi to this place. You're able to catch the dialogues. Tell me what you are taking away today as well.
You don't take no for an answer. Which me running my company for almost 2 years now, I think I've had that iota, but I'm going to work more on it to keep me moving on.
It was amazing. It was a different dimension. I don't think we've hosted co-founders before. And then we love this experience because then it's the same story but different dimensions. And the dialogue, as you saw, we had a lot of interest coming from the participants. We had an interest coming from them as well. And then I think it went very well. It went above expectation, actually.
So show over. It's been an insightful discussion here at the Tunnel Hub, a venue for the 3rd edition of the Startup Dialogues. In July, we are heading to Read for Change at North Kanisha in Accra. It will be interesting to find out who will be addressing the forum and what will be up for discussion. For now, it's been a special edition of the Joy Business Van. It's empowered by Joy Business and supported by Busy, making good things happen.
Thank you very much, Darrell Kwa, for that wonderful report. Meanwhile, we are touching base with Olatunde Agoy of AP Nigeria, who was actually giving us some insight as to why gas supply to Ghana has been curtailed over the period. Is that it's got to do with a militant group called the Niger Delta Avengers. You're welcome back, Olatunde.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
Exactly. You are feeding us into what exactly is happening in Nigeria, for which gas supply to Ghana has been curtailed for some time now. I think that is why the president, those are the people the president called the saboteurs. You can continue from there.
Yeah. Yes. Like I was saying, it has a lot to do with renewed attack by militants from the Niger Delta. Don't forget that this region harbors is home to the multi-billion Nigerian gas west. And this group is a new group that started the agitation early this year. And since February, they've been attacking key installations, oil and gas installations. And principally, it has it has disrupted gas supply, even in Nigeria. And they also forget that Nigeria also feeds some of its neighbors with gas, and including Ghana. And it's not surprising that Ghana is also, feeling the pinch. Even Nigeria is feeling the pinch. Prices have gone up. Prices of gas, even domestic for cooking gas, has more than doubled in the past few weeks, owing to this renewed attack. And this new group, government has initiated dialogue with them, because even all production output has, gone down by 1/3 of the daily production. So they are in talks just to ensure that at least there is peace again, so that there won't be disruption in supply.
What you mean is the Nigerian government is in talks with this group? Is that what you mean?
Yes. What time they started the negotiation? I mean, just to talk to them, and even last month there was an agreement that there should be a ceasefire, because the initial reaction of the Nigerian government was to send the military, to hunt down this group. But later, I mean, they now decided that they should use the stick and carrot approach, and they have now a kind of withdrawn the military.
Okay.
And initiated a discussion just to end
from where you stand in Nigeria, can you tell us probably when are we expecting gas in Ghana, for example?
Yeah, for the look of things, I mean, I'm sure by the time there is a kind of truce, obviously there will be gas in Ghana. But also there is also an issue of some debt being owned. I mean, we also heard that Ghana government is also owing Nigeria in terms of the paying for previous consignments. I think there is also issue of payments.
What do you know about that? Do you have enough information on that? Can you tell us more on that one?
What the information that we have is that there was an agreement for Ghana to pay up some of the debt, which they failed to do, and as a result of that, Nigeria had to stop supply. But I also understand that there is some talk going on between the two governments to really address this issue. I think once that payment is made, I'm sure there will be some kind of.
So, in your opinion, as a journalist, which of these do you think is accounting for the curtailment of gas supply to Ghana as we speak? Is it to do with the militant group, or is it to do with the indebtedness to gas and WAPCO?
I would say the two. One, the payment, and secondly, the militant attack. Like I said, even the militant attack is even affecting supply in Nigeria. So it's a twin problem. For Ghana, yes, the issue of payment, and also because of the militant attack, which has really disrupted supply generally, not only to Ghana.
Okay.
But I believe the issue of debt too is an issue. Yeah.
All right. We thank you very much, Olatunde Agoy there from AFP Nigeria, who brought us to speed as to what exactly is happening in Nigeria. And then indeed, it means that indeed the president was right to say that some saboteurs are responsible. And also those who are also saying that it's as a result of our indebtedness to WAPCO and gas, they are also true. So I think there's a midline somewhere in here. Now moving on here on the marketplace. Now time to look at the numbers and how your investments are faring here in Ghana and on the continent of Africa here. We are looking at it starting from South Africa in Johannesburg, where the FTSE JSE All Share Index recorded or appreciated by 501.10 points as the year-on-year stands at 2.63 in the positive region. And Nigeria also recorded some decline of about 298.90 points as the year-on-year remains 1.27% on the upside. And in Egypt, the EGX 30 index also declined marginally by 201.07% or point to close the year around 2.52 in the positive region, while the Moroccan's Marsi or the Moroccan All Share Index also depreciated marginally by 60.88 to record a year-on-year of positive 7.26%. And now let's look at the Nairobi All Share Index in Kenya, which also marginally declined by 0.39 and recorded a year-on-year performance of 3.68%. Now, we're moving on here on Africa to look at the various indices and how the various markets did fare generally. Moving on to Tunisia, where the Tune Index also depreciated by 127.61 points, and the year-on-year stands 5.85%. And Ghana here, our motherland, struggling to recover. The recovery rate for the Ghana Stock Exchange quite dicey and not that impressive. Recorded some decline of 0.80, and year-on-year still remains 10.44. I'm talking the composite index, which measures the total performance of the Ghanaian market. Now, the BRVM, that's the Bourse Regional du Valeur Mobilier, the composite index, which measures the performance of Francophone West African market, also recorded a depreciation of 0.88 as against year-on-year of 0.62% in the negative. And finally, the Mauritian market, Semidex, also recorded or declined by 1.40 in points and 3.31 negative in year-on-year performance. Let's look at how Ghana did impact the general and the overall market across the continent. Ghana recorded a total volume of 92,336 as against 77,661 at a total value of 114,361 as against 53. So you can see some marginal improvement in there insofar as the value is concerned, but these weren't able to move the market capitalization, as market cap still remain 54,749.89 million Ghana cedis. Quite an impressive performance there. But last week, prior to the holidays, the market lost close to almost about 200 million Ghana cedis. That's quite significant there. So we should also note that. And as I did indicate earlier, the composite index is still standing negative 10.45 as the financial index wallowing around 13.33. So the financial stocks aren't doing that well. We are in July and still struggling to recover itself. Now, these were the top movers of the equities market here in Ghana. Aluex topped the market after it returned 1 peswa and currently trading at 10 pesos per share. CAR also returned 1 peswa and currently trading at 81 pesos per share. Tallow oil lost 4 pesos and is trading 27 Ghana cedis, 88 pesos per share. And Anglo Gold Ashanti depository shares also lost 2 pesos and currently trading 50 pesos per share there on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Moving on to Nigeria, where Wando also topped the market after I recorded 68 kobos, and Van Leer recorded 46. Red Styrex also 21, NFP, RFB Bank also recorded 5, Continsure 5 and all. So we'll be looking at all these in detail in our subsequent bulletin here. But then let me take you to the commodity market and look at how crude oil is faring. As we speak, crude is gaining 54 cents and is currently trading around $49.27 per barrel, as gold losing $1.62 is trading 1,364, and cocoa has already gained 31 and is currently trading $3,101 per ton. So that'll be it for the market here in Ghana and across the continent, and that'll be it here also on the market. You can stay interactive with us. Our Twitter handle is Joy Business GH, and on Facebook we are Joy Business. For more business stories, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. My name is John Kojo Amuakun. Have a very good afternoon.